from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News of Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Dulanjali Ananda.
I'm Charita Minapurarachi, and now let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
Cabinet approval for 3 foreign companies to enter into the local fuel market in Sri Lanka. Prices of vegetables decrease rapidly. Price of milk powder goes down from today. A petition against senior DIG Deshamandu Thendakone dismissed. A modern art aircraft arrived in the Katunayake International Airport, marking its inaugural journey. MP Maithripala Sirisena speaks of future outcomes possible after 3 months. Countrywide protest against Israel Prime Minister. South Africa team sets a T20 cricket world record.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. The cabinet has given approval for the 3 foreign companies to enter into the local fuel market in Sri Lanka.
Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara tweeted that this decision had been taken at the cabinet meeting held today. Accordingly, Sinopec in China, United Petroleum in Australia and RM Parks of USA will start businesses in fuel sector in the country. Each company will be given 150 filling stations that are now under the CPETCO. The 3 companies will be permitted to import, storage, distribution and sale of fuel for about 20 years from this year. Each company hopes to establish 50 more fuel stations in selected areas in the island in future.
Trade Unions Collective of the Petroleum Corporation today started a Satyagraha campaign in front of the Kolonava installation, expressing their protest against the privatization of the corporation. They say that if they do not have proper solution for their problems, they will start a continuous fast. Chairman of the Podujana Progressive Union, Bandula Saman Kumara, said that an intellectuals committee has been appointed for this purpose. The committee must recommend whether the corporation should be privatized or not. If all parties are agreeable to this decision, we will also agree. Meanwhile, members of the University Lecturers Trade Union Association staged a protest in front of the University Grants Commission. They expressed their dissatisfaction against the tax hike and the policies of the Vice-Chancellor of Ruhuna University.
The prices of up-country vegetables have gone down rapidly. Farmers say that they face immense difficulties in selling their stocks of vegetables. It is reported that farmers who brought their stocks of vegetables to the Capitol Special Economic Centre have faced many difficulties due to this situation. Wholesale prices of kilo of carrot, cabbage, beetroot and radish had gone below 50 rupees. The farmers say all varieties of vegetables are sold below 100 rupees a kilo. However, prices of vegetables in the Peliagoda Manning wholesale market were higher compared to the prices of Capitol Special Economic Centre. Wholesale prices of upcountry vegetables are over 100 rupees a kilo at Peliagoda. Meanwhile, prices of many essential commodities have considerably gone down during the past few weeks. However, people outside Colombo say the benefit of reduced prices has not passed on to them so far. Lanka Satasa also decreased the prices of essential items including rice, sugar and dal recently. Wholesale traders say if the prices of the diesel is decreased, they would be able to further reduce the prices of essential items. People complained that prices of essential items are still high at retail shops.
The All Island Canteen Owners Association has decided to reduce a price of tea to 90 rupees. It was earlier between 120 to 140 rupees. The Milk Powder Importers Association recently decided to reduce the prices of imported milk powder. Thereby, a kilo of milk powder reduced by 200 rupees and 400 grams packet decreased by 80 rupees. The new charges of milk tea is effective from today. The Canteen Owners Association informed the Consumers Affairs Authority this morning to issue the relevant gazette notification. Meanwhile, All Island Egg Producers Association says that there will be no shortage of eggs after the festive season. Treasurer to the association Vijay always says that there is a 10% shortage of eggs in the country and it can be rectified by the distribution of imported eggs.
The Court of Appeal today dismissed the petition against Senior DIG Deshabandhu Tennakone, subjected to a cost. The petition has been filed against DIG with regard to an alleged attack to the protesters in the Golf Face. Attorney at Law Ramalingam Ranjan has filed this petition requesting the courts to issue an order to the Attorney General to take measures to arrest Deshabandhu Tennakone and record a statement regarding the Golf Face incident. The petitioner had stated that the DIG has not been named as a suspect by the Attorney General and the CID in the Golf Face incident, even though there are adequate evidence against the DIG. The appeal courts accepted the fundamental objections raised by President's counsel Ramesh De Silva, who appeared for the respondent and stated that there is no cause of filing a case revealed by the petition. The Court of Appeal today ordered to consider the writ petition filed by Colombo Archbishop Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit on the 9th of May. The petitioner had requested the courts to order the Attorney General to implement the recommendations made by the Presidential Commission that investigated into the Easter Sunday attack. The Archbishop has pointed out that the Presidential Commission has recommended to take legal actions against a group of police officers who failed to prevent the Easter Sunday attack. Colombo High Court today ordered to summon the appeal presented by the Attorney General against the release of convener of the Inter-University Students Federation, Vasanthi Mudalige, on the 3rd of next month. Vasanthi Mudalige was arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act and later released as there was no adequate evidence against him. The Attorney General had filed this petition citing that the decision to release Vasanthi Mudalige is against the law and therefore to revise the court decision. Now, State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says that the climatic prosperity plan presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe in last November expects a continuous growth even amidst the climatic destabilization of the country.
He made these remarks participating at the Asia Pacific Economic and Social Commission Forum held in Thailand recently.
Sri Lanka has come a long way since the start of the economic crisis. We now have a historic opportunity to rectify the shortcomings that have affected Sri Lankan citizens through our ambitious reform agenda designed by Sri Lankans for a prosperous Sri Lanka. People of Sri Lanka have been the government's top priority. We are deeply grateful to them who have remained resilient and determined to overcome the challenges we faced over the last months. The government's ambitious reform agenda, including providing greater support for those who need it most, has laid firm foundation for the regeneration of our economy. The IMF program is a crucial step for Sri Lanka to resolve and stabilize the economy and achieve debt sustainability. And we achieved this in record time, working extensively with the IMF and other creditors to limit any further long-term damage to the economy. But we still have a long journey ahead of us. This is just the beginning. Given the crisis that we as a country are facing, I believe that all political partners will support the IMF program back in Sri Lanka. Like the government, they too also recognize that it is an important lifeline for our economy and for the people, and without it, there would be even more acute suffering. The IMF program will mean not only extended funding, it also shows that Sri Lanka is getting its house in order and that we can attract foreign investments, tourism, and talent back to the country. We have engaged continuously and transparently with all our creditors from the very beginning, and we are very grateful to all the bilateral creditors, the Paris Club, including Japan, India and China, for their cooperation and for delivering timely financing assurances. We have undertaken an ambitious and systematic reform agenda and have made the difficult yet necessary decisions required to navigate Sri Lanka out of this worst economic crisis since independence. This ambitious reform agenda is now bearing fruit. We will increase investment in key sectors to stimulate economic growth and support the country's recovery. Sri Lanka will once again be an international destination for investment and business. The government will establish an agency for external trade and investment to achieve a better coordination between different government agencies and aims to create greater liberalization, which is critical to attract investments and boost productivity growth. Our aim is to consolidate an economy that is export-oriented, competitive and sustainable. In addition, the government is committed to modernizing its agricultural sector and is looking to harness agriculture for export as a means to ensure a strong, sustained supply of foreign currency. With the reinforced international confidence in Sri Lanka's stability, we anticipate that our tourism industry will be reinvigorated, helping to bolster our foreign currency reserves. Sri Lanka is a safe and a peaceful country, and we are open for the world to experience our country's beauty and invest in our potential.
A super modern passenger aircraft reached the ChannelEye Bandaranaike International Airport this morning.
The Singapore Airline aircraft landed in ChannelEye as its inaugural flight. This Boeing Dreamliner aircraft of USA has a capacity of 337 passengers. This flight brought 277 passengers to Sri Lanka this morning. This aircraft will operate direct flights between Colombo and Singapore Changi Airport 4 days a week from today.
And meanwhile, distribution of rice among the low-income families free of charge is now in progress. 2.9 million families will be provided with rice. A program to distribute free rice was held in Maharagama yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. Parliamentarian Yadamini Gunawardena and several others were present at this occasion. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that farmers in the country have been able to produce a bumper full of harvest in the last Maha season, and the surplus can be sent to other districts where paddy cultivation is not abandoned. Farmers in the Hambantota district have produced a paddy harvest more than the amount of their need. The government has now solved basic problems of the crisis and will achieve better tomorrow for the public. Distribution of rice for about 7,634 low-income groups in Agunakona Palace area was held today under the patronage of Minister Mahinda Amaravira. 10 kilos of rice is given to each family. Over 5,600 families in Suryavava Divisional Secretariat area were provided with rice today under the patronage of Deputy Speaker Ajit Rajapaksha. Distribution of rice to the low-income families in Colombo district commenced from yesterday. President Senior Advisor on National Security and the Chief of Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayaka headed the program held at the Timbiriga Sai Divisional Secretariat area.
Now, several public rallies organized by political parties were held island-wide yesterday as well. A public meeting organized by the UNP was held at the UNP office in Kurunagala yesterday. This meeting was organized to enlighten the party activists.
අද රටේ ජනතාව දන්නවා මේ රටේ තියෙන ආර්ථික ප්‍රශ්න වලට විසඳුම් දෙන්න පුළුවන් එකම නායකයා රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා කියලා.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna held the Women's Convention of the Berwala electorate yesterday.
IMF ණය යෝජනා ක්‍රමයක් දැන් ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. ඒ පිළිබඳ අපේ වෙනම මගේ පෞද්ගලික වෙනමත තියෙනවා. හැබැයි බොහෝ දෙනෙක් විශ්වාස කරනවා IMF තමයි විසඳුම කියලා.
මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා කියන්නේ රට ආරක්ෂා කරගත්ත නායක.
A public rally organized by the National People's Power was held in Panadura town yesterday.
එක වංචාව දූෂණය නාස්තියන්තර පාලනය අන්න ඒක හදනවා මාලිමාවේ ආණ්ඩුව.
Badegam electoral meeting of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party was held yesterday under the patronage of former President Maithripala Sirisena.
මේ රට හොඳ රටක් බවට පත් කරගෙන යනකොට තමයි ඔය ආස්තු ප්‍රහාරය ඇවිල්ලා මාව නැත්තටම නැති කරලා දාලා ඊයේ පෙරේදවට කෝටි 10ක් ගෙවන්න සිද්ධ වුණේ.
Our correspondent says a strong protest was staged against the convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, Vasantha Budilige, and representatives who arrived in Jaffna recently. A group of Inter-University Student Federation representatives has gone to Jaffna and attempted to meet students in the Jaffna University. Our correspondent reports that a group arrived there and expressed their dissatisfaction towards the Inter-University Students' Federation agents. Two employees of the Colombo Municipal Council have died when they engaged in cleaning sewage line located at the George R. V. Silva Avenue in Kotahena, Hettiawatta. It is reported that they have fallen into the sewerage system following a difficulty in breathing. They were trapped in the sewerage system and later found dead. The fire and rescue mission of the Colombo Municipal Council brought their bodies ashore. Kotahena police conducts further investigations.
Now for more local news in brief. The 51st death anniversary of former Minister Philip Gunawardena was held at Borulugoda in Koskama yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena. A luxury commuter bus knocked out a container carrier from behind at the 23rd kilometre post of the Southern Expressway. 15 passengers had injured in this incident. A car and a small lorry collided head-on at Getatuana area along the Kurunagala Kandy main road. 3 persons, including a 6-year-old child, have been injured by the accident. A close ally of drug kingpin Nadun Shintaka alias Harakata has been arrested by the police STF in Ahangama area with heroin in his possession. A suspect connected to the killing of a 30-year-old woman at Valiara area in Netopeliata was taken into custody today by the Tangol police. The victim was an agrarian services officer at the Netopeliata Agrarian Services Centre. A dispute occurred in relation with fertilizer issue that has helped to the killing. Now, Ceylon Bank has celebrated its 35th anniversary recently.
A special ceremony in this connection was held at the headquarters of the Ceylon Bank. The Ceylon Bank was founded in 1988. The bank has now 171 branches, 216 ATMs, 70 CDMs and 96 checks deposit machines island-wide. The bank carry out a numerous digital banking service. It provides services to small and medium-scale entrepreneurs, individuals and institutional customers. Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, and the top officials of the Ceylon Bank participated at the 35th anniversary celebrations.
Today we stand as a very stable, strong and forward-looking bank, very close to our customers, with strong relationships and geared very well to serve them in the future and also help our national economy recover from where we are now and to support those efforts of the government and the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
The Buddhist delegation from Thailand have arrived in the country for a visit. The aim of this visit is to strengthen bilateral friendship. The Buddhist relationship between Thailand and Sri Lanka has a long history. Both countries are contributing enormously for the well-being of Buddhist order. This delegation also hopes to enhance tourism industry between the two countries. They will stay for about 1 week in Sri Lanka and expects to tour in Anuradhapura, Kandy, Nuwara Eliya and several other areas.
On to more stories. 2 Sri Lankans living in Australia has won the first and second places of the second edition of the online chef contest organized by the Australian Culinary Federation. Don Sherman won a trip to Italy with his recipe quick chickpea thusai with filling and 5 bean salad. Second place for his recipe on Sri Lankan chickpea curry stuffed with calamari goes to Melanie Edison, who wins the publication of his recipe in a food magazine. For the second year running, the Australian Culinary Federation has enthusiastically worked with the ANICA, the Italian National Association of Canned Vegetable Industries, to promote this initiative to offer professional and amateur chefs from Australia to incredible opportunity to win a trip to Italy and discover in person its great preserving and agri-food traditions. Stay tuned with international news after this break.
கைகளும் நிறைந்திட புத்தாண்டில் இன்பம் தெளித்திட பீப்பிள்ஸ் கிரெடிட் கார்டு டிஸ்கவுண்ட்.
பீப்பிள்ஸ் கிரெடிட் கார்டு உரிமையாளர்களே, இந்த புத்தாண்டு காலத்தில் பிரபல ஆடையகம், ஹோட்டல் மற்றும் ரெஸ்டாரண்ட் உட்பட பலவற்றில் 60% வரை விசேட சலுகைகளை பெற்றிடுங்கள். நீங்கள் வாங்கும் பொருட்களுக்கான கொடுப்பனவுகளை வட்டியற்ற தவணை கொடுப்பனவுகளாக செலுத்திடுங்கள். மேலதிக விவரங்களுக்கு விரைந்திடுங்கள். www.peoplesbank.lk. நிபந்தனைகளுக்கு உட்பட்டது.
Welcome back on Foreign News. Tens of thousands of people have taken to the streets across Israel after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired his defense minister.
Yoav gallant and spoke out against controversial plans to overhaul the justice system. In Jerusalem, police and soldiers used water cannons against demonstrators near Netanyahu's house. Israel's President Isaac Herzog called on the government to halt the reforms today. For the sake of the unity of the people of Israel, for the sake of responsibility, I call on you to stop the legislative process immediately, he said on Twitter, adding that the eyes of all the people of Israel are on you. The US said it was deeply concerned about the developments and called for a compromise. A week of disruption had already been planned over the new law. The reforms included the plans that would give the government decisive control over the committee which appoints judges. They would also make it harder for courts to remove a leader deemed unfit office, which was endeared many who consider in the interest of the incumbent Benjamin Netanyahu, who faces an ongoing trial for corruption.
At least 28 migrants have died after their boat sank off the coast of Tunisia as they tried to cross the Mediterranean to Italy. In one wreck alone, at least 20 migrants died, with more than 60 people still missing. Meanwhile, the Italian Coast Guard said they coordinated the rescue of 3,300 people from 58 boats in distress in the last 48 hours, according to a statement yesterday. Most of these rescues were conducted on boats heading from Tunisia to Lampedusa, the closest Italian island to Africa. Tunisia has taken over from Libya as a main departure point for people fleeing poverty and conflict in Africa and Middle East in the hope of a better life in Europe. This latest disaster comes in the midst of a campaign of arrest by Tunisia authorities.
Leaders of India's main opposition party Congress are holding nationwide protest against the disqualification of the leader Rahul Gandhi from Parliament. Gandhi was removed as an MP last week after he was sentenced to 2 years in prison in a defamation case. He was convicted by a court of 2019 comments about PM Narendra Modi's surname at an election rally. The Congress has criticized the action as politically motivated, but the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party has denied the allegations and said Gandhi's expulsion from the parliamentary rules. Today, hundreds of Congress leaders held protest against the Gandhi's disqualification in Delhi for a second day. Protests were also held in stages of Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Telangana, Punjab, Haryana and Gujarat, where party workers held rallies. In Delhi, leaders from a swath of India's opposition parties joined the demonstrations held inside Parliament premises. Several of them wore black clothes in the house in what the first sitting of the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the Parliament since Gandhi's disqualification last week. Protests continued even inside Parliament, leading to several adjournments during the day. Ahead of the session, Congress MP Pramod Tiwari accused the Bharatiya Janata Party and Prime Minister Narendra Modi of stifling dissent in the country.
Now, more severe weather could be on its way to the U.S. state of Mississippi following the tornadoes which killed 26 people, the governor has warned. Governor Ted Reeves said significant risks remained in parts of the state. Hundreds of people have been displaced in the wake of the tornadoes which tore through Mississippi and Alabama on last Friday night. The mayor of one of the worst affected towns said he had lost personal friends in the disaster. Friday's tornado was the deadliest in the state of Mississippi in more than a decade. At least 25 people have died in the state, with one person confirmed dead in neighboring Alabama. Trees have been uprooted, trucks have overturned into houses, and power lines have been brought down by the tornado, classified as violent and given the second highest rating possible. Survivors of the disaster could be seen walking around dazed in a shock. Sunday, on the other hand, has been a hive of activity.
From the tornado in USA to migrant birds in China, wetland reserves across China live with the birds, inspiring residents and migratory species take advantage of these natural oases to start nesting for refueling for their journeys to their northern summer breeding grounds. More than 100,000 migratory birds have spent the winter in the Lashai wetland located in Lijiang city in southwest China's Yunnan province. With temperatures rising, birds from many different species are heading north. The ChannelEye wetlands lie along an important migration route that crosses North China's Tianjin, and thousands of water birds such as geese, storks and herons are gathering along lake and river shores, with many en route to the north and others setting into breed. Tianjin boasts 4 wetland nature reserves and 5 wetland nature parks covering nearly 2,900 square kilometers. Red-billed gulls are the stars of the avian show in the Xiaohou National Wetland Park in northern China's Shanxi province. The endangered species is protected in China and is at the International Union for Conservation of Natural Red List of the vulnerable species.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ට්‍රීක් මැච් ෆන් ට්‍රීමක් ඔත්තමේ තියනකම්
Welcome back. Now, news coming from the cricket arena. South Africa set a record yesterday as the team that won a match against West Indies, chasing the highest target in a T20 international.
The second T20 match against West Indies was played at Centurion. South Africa won the toss and elected to field first. Accordingly, West Indies scored 258 runs for the loss of 5 wickets in their 20 overs. Johnson Charles scored the record the first fastest half-century in T20 history, scoring 118 runs in 46 deliveries. His century included 11 sixes and 10 fours. In reply, South Africa started the inning with openers Quinton de Kock and Reeves Hendricks. They scored 102 runs in 6 overs in the first power play. It is the highest total of any team recorded so far. South Africa passes a victory target in 18.5 overs. Quinton de Kock scored a century in 44 deliveries. Both teams scored 517 runs in the match, and this is the first instance where score exceeds 500 run mark in T20 internationals.
මෙහෙම දිනන්න මෙහෙම වන්න ට්‍රීක් මැච් ෆන් ට්‍රීමක් ඔත්තමේ තියනකම් කොත්තමේ තිය
And that's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on Channel Eye. I'm Dilanjali, together with Shraita, signing off. Good night.